So we've done a few of these kind of videos recently, and I'm thinking of making it a more recurring type of video we'll continue to do moving forward, but essentially, for today's video we're going to be analyzing a topic proposed by mainstream sports media outlet Bleacher Report. A few days ago, they released an article titled NBA Trades to Prevent a Los Angeles Lakers Championship Repeat, where the author proposed 4 trades that, in his mind, would elevate the team involved in the trade ahead of the Lakers in the NBA's hierarchy, and would then result in them having a better chance at winning it all. For this video, I'll be taking a look at each of those 4 proposed trades, and I'll be giving my thoughts on whether or not they would actually be as impactful as they believe they would be, along with whether or not they're even realistic trades in the first place. That's the plan for today, and if you want to check out the actual article itself to see the reasoning they give, I'll leave that linked in the description of the video. Before we start though, it turns out about 67% of you watching right now aren't even subscribed to the channel, so please, if you enjoy the content, consider hitting the subscribe button, as not only does it help out a ton, but I would also very much appreciate it. Now with that being said, let's begin. The first of the 4 proposed trades in the article is between the Denver Nuggets and Washington Wizards, and it sees the Nuggets receive Bradley Beal in exchange for Gary Harris, Michael Porter Jr., Bull, a 2021 first-round pick, a 2022 first-round pick swap, and a 2024 first-round pick. This is a deal that obviously is meant to elevate the Nuggets to contender status, and by doing so, they're giving up key rotational pieces, their promising youth, and quite a few future assets, with 2 first-round picks and a pick swap included in the deal as well. This is probably as good of a deal for Bradley Beal as the Wizards could get on the market if they ever do decide to shift their focus towards a rebuild for the future, and I can imagine it would be quite enticing for them, but does it actually put the Nuggets over the top as finals contenders? Well, offensively, they would be even more lethal because Nikola Vukicic's scoring and playmaking ability makes any team around him an offensive force, and along with Jamal Murray's ability to catch fire in any given game, the presence of Bradley Beal's consistent 30 points per game would absolutely take things to another level. But the area where the Nuggets need most to address that this trade doesn't really do is their defense, as the team is currently ranked in the bottom third of the league in that regard. The Nuggets would be going the route the Brooklyn Nets took, where they focus fully on offensive firepower without the ability to consistently stop other teams, and the issue is that the trio of Jokic, Beal, and Murray is not as productive as the trio of Durant, Harden, and Irving. The Lakers, who are the team to beat in the West, meanwhile, rank as the league's best defense, and in crunch time of big playoff games, they'll still be able to get stops, while the Nuggets may struggle to do so. This trade obviously elevates the Nuggets to the top tier of contenders, but I probably would still slightly favor the Lakers in a series. The next proposed trade in the article, believed to elevate a team above the Los Angeles Lakers, is between the Brooklyn Nets and the Cleveland Cavaliers, and in it the Nets give up Nicholas Claxton, Tyler Johnson, and a 2021 second-round pick for JaVale McGee. The Nets are such a fascinating team to follow this year, with all of the firepower they've acquired, having a big 3 of Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving. But with this being the case, they have a major hole in the middle at the center spot, where teams in their way like the Lakers and 76ers have superstars in Anthony Davis and Joel Embiid that they will need to try to slow down in the middle. DeAndre Jordan is just not the same player he used to be, and can only be effective in limited minutes at best, so for him to be their solution to guarding those 2 players that I just mentioned is a recipe for disaster. That's why this trade is even on this list, because right now the Nets are a bottom 3rd team in rebounding, defense, and with DeAndre Jordan on the floor, their plus-minus gets significantly worse, so adding another center capable of holding his own is crucial. With that being said though, is JaVale McGee really that guy? Sure, he has championship experience, he does well in the pick and roll, which would come into play with Harden and Irving, and he can do a decent job protecting the rim, but in general, he's not in any way, shape, or form a game-changing solution contribution to that whole, and when it comes time to stop players like Anthony Davis and Joel Embiid, it doesn't really change all that much. This deal probably does make the Nets a little better overall, but ultimately in the conversation of Nets versus Lakers, I don't think it changes much at all in that regard, and if you favor the Lakers now, you'll probably still favor them after this trade, and if you favor the Nets now, you'll still probably favor them after this trade as well. The next trade proposed in the article was between the Los Angeles Clippers and the Houston Rockets, and in the deal the Clippers trade Lou Williams and a 2022 second-round pick for PJ Tucker. The Clippers are doing a fantastic job bouncing back from the disappointment they suffered last year, but they're still not perfect by any means. Lou Williams is definitely starting to show his age, putting up the fewest points he's produced in 7 years, and Coach Ty Lue is playing him the fewest minutes per game he's played since 2007. He's a complete and utter liability on the defensive end, and even though he is still capable of getting buckets when he gets the opportunity to, the Clippers don't need it as much from him. PJ Tucker is also a player that's starting to show his age this year, don't get me wrong. But the things he still does well do coincide with what the Clippers could value at the trade deadline, as he's still a versatile and impactful defender that can guard multiple positions, he's incredibly tough and battles hard on defense, and he's a true leader, which the Clippers can absolutely use. Players like Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Luke Kennard, Reggie Jackson, and a few others should be able to take over the ball handling left behind by Williams, while this deal improves the team's overall defensive versatility, and honestly, I do think this kind of deal helps solidify the Clippers' rotation when facing teams as good as the Lakers. Both Williams and Tucker are on expiring contracts, so making a trade like this for the sake of need makes even more sense, but ultimately a series between the Clippers and Lakers would come down to the mentality that Paul George plays with, because as they've shown us last year, basketball is much more than just talent. And finally, the last proposed trade in the article was between the Golden State Warriors and Orlando Magic, and in the trade, the Warriors give up Kelly Oubre Jr., James Wiseman, and a 2022 first-round pick for Nikola Vucevic. Nikola Vucevic is in the peak of his prime, playing the best basketball of his life, and yet simultaneously the Magic team around him is eroding and trending in the complete opposite direction. A trade like this would be enticing for both teams, because the Magic get a youngster with tons of potential in James Wiseman, along with a valuable first-round pick, while the Warriors get a player in the middle that fits much more into their win-now window that can produce at an all-star level. Vucevic is putting up 24 points and 12 rebounds per game this year, and his ability to score both inside and out, as he's shooting 41% from 3, would be lethal in the Warriors' offense. He's an underrated passer for a big man, he has the perfect play style to fit alongside guys like Steph Curry and Draymond Green, and Warriors would be dangerous next year as well when Klay Thompson returns. But does this put them over the Lakers now? Probably not this year, but if Klay Thompson does come back next season and can play anywhere near the level we've grown accustomed to seeing him play prior to his injuries, the Warriors' championship window would open right back up, with this move being more of a long-term play. All of these trades are interesting in their own right, so we'll see what happens moving forward if any of them actually come about, because that could change things a ton. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what you think about these potential trades. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.